Hey everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, recorder of videos, and dinosaur enthusiast. I am currently loving Jurassic World Evolution, which is basically like a modern version of Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which is a 15-year-old dinosaur Jurassic Park licensed theme park game that was an amazing game back in the day. This one was made by Frontier Developments, makers of Planet Coaster, which is a great modern version of Roller Coaster Tycoon. Highly recommend it. It's not perfect. Kind of like the comparison to Jurassic World to Jurassic Park. I really liked Jurassic World for what it was. I think it was a fun celebration of the franchise. Obviously, it doesn't not nearly as good as the original Jurassic Park. Kind of the same deal here, but this is not a review. What this is I'm going to walk through and just kind of show the 5-star rating for the very first island, Isla Matanceros. We're going to jump into that right here. Not so much as a guide, but just kind of an example of how I built the park in getting to 5 stars. Now, the point of the game is you have your single career, and you go through and you hop around to these different islands, and you kind of play them concurrently. They pause while you're not on them, but the idea is you're supposed to be building them all kind of back and forth with each other, because as you get to 3 stars in one, you unlock the next island, and then eventually you want to get to 5 stars on all of them to really do it.
Received an offer that will definitely help the
So this is Isla Matanceros. This is the first island. You can see from this screen, and it's going to fluctuate between probably 4.5 and 5 depending on what's going on. The point is, as long as you hit that 5 stars within like a second, then technically you've hit 5 stars, but it's never going to like stay there. It's pretty fluid. And technically, if you want to 100% the game, you actually need to get these reputations, I believe, maxed on all of them, which that's just going to take a while of cycling through all those contracts that you'll get, which you can request on this screen. So you can see from the island navigation screen, we are here, and I'm still about 12 hours into the game at this point, so I have unlocked, and you get a bonus island, which is the original Isla Nublar. But here's the main campaign: is these 5 islands. This is kind of the sandbox here. I have unlocked 4 of them. I haven't actually played the 4th one yet. I'm still working on Island 2 and 3. But you can get 5 stars on the first island fairly easily, so let's just walk through kind of what I did. So this is the kind of familiar opening area. There's the arrival point. You've got your power station, and then I don't remember quite the buildings you start with. I believe you do start with an incubator here and like a kind of a small area here where you can an enclosure. So obviously I kept this enclosure here. I turned this into the kind of the big mixed breed herbivore enclosure, which the best ones for that are all these kind of iguanodon looking, I don't know what the word is for that, there's a genus to refer to these guys, but like the Edmontosauruses, the Parasaurolophus, the Ceratosaurus, they all kind of look similar, and they're very much herding animals. They like having each other and other ones like themselves. Triceratops also a really cheap, easy one to throw in there as well. So those are, all newbie dinosaurs you can find. You can see my genome library here. Again, this is just after, maybe 3 islands worth of expedition. So I've only unlocked a fraction of the dinosaurs and still able to get 5 stars. And what I did, at some point during the, I guess, soft tutorial, they have you release a Ceratosaurus, because a lot of the entertainment and security divisions want you to have those super predators, and those are real fun to have. The problem is they'll eat your dinosaur, so I sectioned off my enclosure here. There's the Ceratosaurus. I think I had 2 in here. I've unfortunately been playing this island for long enough where a lot of my original dinosaurs have actually died of old age. And I kind of made this, it's not very attractive, but you can get away with having 1 incubator for multiple enclosures. You can either trank and dart and move dinosaurs around, which doesn't take a whole lot of time, but with carnivores that's a problem, because the second they come out, the carnivores will fucking start eating people. Like in JPOG, you could have carnivores, and they would only if their food went down would they actively hunt, and dinosaurs would actually sleep in that game. This one, not so much. The carnivores will absolutely just start fucking killing everything, Ceratosaurus especially. Or if there's enough Triceratops, or Triceratops will kill the Ceratosaurus, which that's fun to see. I gotta cure some disease real quick. But
Adding to the list.
Go do your thing. I actually do like driving the Jeep around, especially when you're just waiting for money, but for the purposes of now, we can automate all of that stuff. So anyway, this is a trick I do, which is literally just open and close gates right here. So if I'm going herbivores, I'll make herbivores here, open this section, let them go through. If I'm making carnivore, I'll close that, open this section. You're literally just, there's no opening. You're deleting it and demolishing it and putting up the fence because that stuff goes up instantly. Again, not very attractive, but we're going for stars, not aesthetics. Alright, so I've got a lot of the facility buildings up here, emergency shelter, gift shop, fast food. Now, and again, I'm not making a huge strategy guide here, but when you're looking at the needs of your guests, you definitely want to use this management view. And you can see here drinks, shopping. You want everything to be in the blue, essentially. That means you're taking care of everybody's needs. And the needs are all centered around the, what do you call it, these exhibit galleries. So basically all the things you have where people can see dinosaurs. That is essentially the rides or roller coasters of your park are these viewing galleries, the, whatever they call the platforms, and then eventually you unlock the little roller balls from Jurassic World that can look at stuff. Those are all the main attractions of your park. You can see there's a red one over there because there's no facilities around it. So you actually want to build your facilities around those things. The other one is the hotel. The hotel is a major one because obviously people are staying in the hotel, so you want to be able to build a lot of facilities around it. You can see I literally surrounded this hotel with, I hate how it zooms like that automatically, clothes shop, toy shop, and 2 restaurants right here. Other piece of advice you want to look at is the number of guests right here. You want to make sure that's not maxed because that means you have reached your limit. And you go to manage staff and you literally just add different staff, and that ups and lowers your guest number. So right now you want to be have less than the max. So probably didn't need 2 restaurants here. I think I literally just wanted to get these galleries because it wasn't quite in the radius. And unfortunately it doesn't quite tell you, like, I don't think the radius demands. You just kind of have to play with it a little bit. But, and you've got a lot of my facilities over here, ACU, Ranger Station, Expedition Center. Obviously you only ever need one of all of these things because you can just buy multiple Ranger Stations. You do want to put your Ranger Station kind of in the middle of your park if you can, because they'll have to service you use Jeeps for so much. Resupplying feeders, medicating animals, that's all critical stuff to have. Repairing fences, like you need those Jeeps to go out. If you have a really big park, then you will need multiple Ranger Stations. Power stations, you can put those, I didn't need to put this here in the middle of the park, I shouldn't have. You can easily put those way out of the way and just connect them with grids. Just have a huge pylon system. You can just stuff them all in the corner of one of your parks if you want. I didn't quite do that here, but I mean, who wants to walk by a power station? Come on, that was a bad choice. So we got the first enclosure is kind of this double duty. We've got just a single Ceratosaurus, and you can modify the ever-loving shit out of a Ceratosaurus. Where are you? There he is. I had 2 in here. You can have 3 Ceratosauruses in one enclosure if it's big enough. And you've got, the carnivore feeders and everything, and the 3 will generally be pretty harmonious. 2 you can do easily, and then 1 can be happy too. And you can see that by looking at the social tab. Oh, you're a loud motherfucker. He had no, actually all dinosaurs are female in Jurassic World. There was no red bar you can see on the lower end of social, which means they're fine with just 1. If there's a red bar on the lower end of the social, that means you have to minimum have a certain amount. And you can see there's a big red bar here, so you cannot have very many of them, which obviously is the case of a lot of super predators. However, oddly enough, the Ceratosaurus loves having other dinosaurs around, so if you want to make it real entertaining, you can put a bunch of other dinosaurs in there, and she'll be just super happy to go around chomping everybody until she dies from a Ankylosaurus or something. But you can see here the combat infamy. I mean, this dino has killed plenty of dinosaurs, and that is a huge star rating, so you want those super predators. The problem in the early game is Ceratosaurus pretty much your only option for basically throughout the first 2 islands, I think. So you're just going to have one, and you just want them to be separated. Make sure you've got your carnivore feeders, and probably feed them a pretty good stream of dinosaurs to up that combat rating once you have the money, and modify them up to have super stats and give them unmodified. I find Torosaurus probably the best one early game. Ankylosaurus, Triceratops, in terms of actual fighting, because a lot of those contracts will require you to have dinosaurs fight each other. And another tip you can have, put the Ranger Jeep outside of a fight, and you can shoot the one that you want to win the fight, and you'll actually heal them, which is a little Pokemon-esque. There is no PETA for Jurassic World because they do terrible things with making them fight. Alright, so we've got the enclosures here. This is the just big group herbivore one. And again, these ones, look at that. Huge blue bars on social and population. They love having other dinosaurs. So you can just have a big old mess of these. Triceratops are also very happy to have other dinosaurs. So Pretty easy to have that here. The other one I built, and I really don't have that many enclosures to get 5 stars, is right here, and it's kind of this weird long shape. You can look at the map screen, which is, I love this map screen. It's actually quite useful. And you can see here's the edges of the park. There's kind of a natural mountain right here. And so just to the left of the initial one, I built this kind of weird kidney-shaped enclosure, mainly because there was just water here naturally. So I was like, all right, I'll just do that and have the park go around. And that way you can have as many viewing galleries. I think there's a better view for that. There we go. And you can see that with these galleries, I was able to cover the entire enclosure with these two, and then the platform tower, which I believe you'll unlock during the second island, I think. And on this one, I actually put a pair of Ankylosaurus because they are super grumpy gusses. Look at this. They will tolerate, you know, maybe 3 or 4 of their species, but they do not want a whole lot of dinosaurs around them. They are very antisocial. But they're worth a good star rating, pretty solid, and they're not terribly expensive. You just cannot put them with your big grouping of herbivores. They will get pissed off, and anytime a dinosaur is pissed, it will basically break the fence, and that causes a chain reaction of problems. However, what you can do is you can put them with small carnivores like the Deinonychus, which I believe is the first small carnivore you unlock. Now, the Deinonychus is tricky, not nearly as tricky as Velociraptor. The tricky thing is, you can see here, there is a red bar on social. They need, I think, minimum 4 of them, so that they will not freak out and attack the fences. Which means when you're incubating, you cannot incubate just one and release it, because it will take probably less than a minute for it to start freaking out about not having it. You know, think of like a schooling fish. Like, if it doesn't have that school, they're just going to start freaking out. Same thing here. You need at least 4. And obviously you should do more than that in case something happens to one of them and you're not overlapped. And that's what's useful, having these multiple slots, hatchery capacity, so that you can actually be incubating a bunch of them at the same time and then release them like one after the other. So you kind of catch up with that and don't let them panic too much. But that's
here's a chance to
very
really
careful.
prove
Thank you, Isaac. Right now I've got 4 in here, and I could easily probably do 6. So the interesting thing is, you can mix Ankylosaurus with Deinonychus. Ankylosaurus is so freaking big and strong and armored, the Deinonychus won't fuck with it. So this is one of the pure... Alright, dude, thanks.
So, start taking them snaps.
I should decline these so they're not talking over me. So you can mix carnivores and herbivores together, but only if they're basically a different weight class between the carnivore and the herbivore. I think you can also mix, like, Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus with, like, a Ceratosaurus, for example, because they're just so much bigger. They're considered giant, while the other ones are large, so it's a different weight class. So that's how you can mix and match herbivores and carnivores in relative peace. Obviously, you need to have the feeders, and what you should do also is separate. Make sure the enclosure is big enough so the animals are literally not on top of each other. And put the feeders separate, too. Obviously, put the carnivore feeder on one end, the herbivore feeder on the other, so that they're not literally having to panic, because Ankylosaurus isn't going to be too pleased to see the Deinonychus running around, but they will live in peace if you have a big enough enclosure for it. So the nice thing is, those are all good star ratings. They're not too expensive, and it's not that big of an enclosure. So that is basically my second enclosure. I did have its own incubator here. And I built a little bit towards the south, but you can see here, I actually have a whole big area down here that I never built in. There's kind of a mountain here, which makes it a pain. And I was thinking I would, but then I already hit 5 stars, which again, that's going to be fluctuating. So I didn't really need to go down here, but I even have more room in the park down here. Alright, so let's go to the left here. I built my first hotel down here. I did build a monorail. Monorail is probably not necessary for most parks. I think it's fun. I just like the idea of having a monorail, especially going like above the dinosaurs like this. That's a lot of fun. And it does help. Obviously, it will solve all of your transport ratings if you just have the monorail. The goal is to have a track, a station at your arrival point, and then the station at the hotel. People want to be able to go from the arrival point to the hotel. Other than that, it can be just kind of whatever. You can take them around to different parts of the park and do all that. See, and I kind of did this because I was anticipating having to eventually move the monorail down here and having a stop, but I haven't even done that because it just wasn't necessary. Otherwise, I would have just had it go here and stop, like, around here. But instead, I kind of went all the way around. Because, again, I like the idea of... And I think it counts as... Yeah, you can see the visibility. This will up your dinosaur visibility, too, because that does give you a radius going around. So if you can see dinosaurs, and obviously that's why I had them go over... Look at that. It goes over all these sections of the park. So that ups your dinosaur visibility rating quite a bit. So I put the hotel over here. You definitely want at least one hotel, and I don't know what the percentage is for guests, but you can always use this screen right here, and you can see we're at 5 right now. And it'll just tell you, what do we got? Transport rating, shopping rating. I guess it doesn't say hotel rating, but I mean, it'll be under capacity, basically. If your capacity only says okay or something, then you're going to need another hotel. But a certain percentage of population, you want those hotels. And right now, what was my population at? 3,000. So with 3,000, one hotel, plenty. And again, all your amenities around there. So my last enclosure was the big one. This one takes up the entire western half of this island. And the point of this one was to finally get some sauropods, which I believe I used Diplodocus over here. And Diplodocus is another one that really is a great social animal. You can have, gosh, probably, what do I have? 3 of them in here, and you can see there's still plenty of room here. I could probably do 5, maybe even 6 of these guys, girls. And a huge population rating, so I can include a lot of other ones. I believe, yeah, we included some Parasaurolophus here, which they're actually on the low end of social. And I've got, look at this. Oh, some of those are Ceratosaurus. But still, I've got probably 3 of them, and I could use a lot more. Actually, there's more down here, too. Now, those ratings will change depending on what's around them, too. So it's not just by enclosure. I do wish they would change this, because literally their stats will fluctuate so much as they walk around in their enclosure, which is another reason why you want to be able to like separate things and make sure everybody's got their own feeders and zones, because you know, population might be low, but then if they walk into an area with a whole ton of people, you know, like the one little watering hole you've got, then it'll skyrocket and make them pissed. So you do have to watch out for that. But this one, the main point was just to make another big herbivore social enclosure and be able to include those giant sauropods and make sure they had plenty of room. And you can see this one's very forested because they like that forest tile set. And these guys are just very, very tolerant. They're great dinos to have. Ceratosaurus, another one, pretty much the same as the other guys. Now the problem I ran into, my mistake as I'll call it, is that Torosaurus is not a social animal and not nearly as forgiving as Triceratops, for example. These guys are assholes. I tried putting them in this enclosure initially. This was all one enclosure, which is probably way too big for one anyway. And they immediately got pissed off. They did not like having all these creatures, and I did not have nearly enough Torosaurus at once. Look at how small that social bar is. That is a very specific need for other Torosaurus. I have 4 in here, I think. And I think you minimum need 2. You need basically at all times between 2 and 4 Torosaurus, or they will get super pissed and break out. And that is an annoying thing to keep track of. So I essentially tranked them after they broke out, because I was just doing like one at a time, and moved them over here to their own enclosure so that they don't have to worry about it. They also don't have quite the population needs, although they could be put in there probably. I think it'd be on the higher end at this point. But so I went ahead and separated them, which is not a big deal. I already had a viewing gallery here, and you can see, where's my, management view. You know, again, with the viewing, you want to be able to cover as much of your enclosure as possible, and then you want to be able to build amenities around it. That's basically the main point of the game. You want to build enclosures, make sure you adequately have your animals' needs met, which pretty much is mostly due to social and population. That's kind of the trial and error you have to play with, because obviously all animals need food, all need water. And you just, you know, make water with the landscaping tool, and with food you just have feeders. That shit's not hard to do. What's hard is figuring out the social dynamics and the population dynamics, and a lot of that is just trial and error and figuring out what animals mix with others. So having, I would say, you know, this is going to be your bread and butter is going to be these big herbivore mixes, because you can just throw a bunch of them together, which is nice, and have that be a big part of the park. The other big attention drawer is going to be those super predators. But here, as you see, I only have like the one Ceratosaurus over there. That's the only thing I've got. Now, she does have a huge star rating compared to these others. I mean, the next closest would be these Diplodocus at 169, which is huge. They're pretty heavily modified. They're expensive. And I believe our Ceratosaurus was, that was 169, 190. And that is a cheap thing to have a 190 star rating. But again, this dinosaur has killed several other dinosaurs too. And that combat rating ups them up. So that's a useful thing to have. You don't necessarily want to feed them, you know, dinosaurs left and right until you've got a nice cash flow, which at some point money doesn't really become a thing anymore. But That's part of the tricky part, is getting through that early game. Fossils helps a lot. So, and the other advice is you do want to jump into other islands. Do not stay on one island. Once you get that 3-star rating, jump into the next island, because you will carry over your research upgrades and all the fossils you found. What you could even do once you build an expedition center, get all the fossils and then go back to like the other island and sell the fossils, or just work on your genomes and research in the other island that you've got good. Like on this one right here, I researched as much as I could before moving on to the next island, because money does not carry over, but the things you do carry over. So like all the researches that you upgrade and all those things, those all carry over. Oh shit, who's dying here? Did Deinonychus die? Did you kill the Deinonychus? Died of old age. Okay. So I bet you what's going to happen now. Yeah, see now on 3, they're at the low end. So these guys are going to start getting pissed off if I don't. Oh shit, another one just died. How are these guys dying so soon? So now I got to be on top of it, because I ran into a problem where I didn't have enough of these going, and they're going to get pissed now. But yeah, that's what a kind of a 5-star park looks like. It's really not too tricky, and again, I haven't unlocked a whole lot of dinosaurs. And this is just the starter island. But you want to be able to complete these contracts as they come. You can hit this contracts tab and just immediately take them on. You can only have 3 right now, so I can't take on new ones. But you don't have to wait for them to just pop up. You can take them and then decline them and take them. I think a minute has to elapse before you can actually take another one. So there's a bit of a time wait. I have 2 of them are reaching income. That's weird. Wait, why is my income 482 and then there it's 542? That doesn't make... Oh, it's profit and income. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, and the other thing you can work on is trying to get reputations high, and then the missions are the main. You do want to complete all your missions for each island, but reputation, mainly you want to look in here. It looks like this initially, and you can click on this and see all the unlocks, and you want to try to go for those unlocks. Once you've unlocked them all, then it's less important for you to start working on here, and obviously once you've gotten 5 stars, you've pretty much done everything you can on this island, and then it's just, from that, it's just for funsies. So yeah, that's just a look at Isla Matanceros, 5 stars, and I will take a look at the other islands as I work on them and complete them in the future. So thanks for watching. This is Eric Watson's Jurassic World Evolution. Alright.